This is a patrol canine video going from trailing to a barrier and then to an area where it gets an air scent, and the handler has to make a decision to stay on lead or go off lead. To this point, the dog's been keying and cueing on areas such as doors and gates and places where suspects have gone through, over, or around in pretty good fashion, and you can see the dog has quite a bit of interest right here. The handler lets the dog go, and almost immediately you see the dog react to an air scent problem. The handler's doing a really good job of being observant on his canine's body language. The thing he sees right now is a proximity alert, and then the dog's getting very, very excited. He just doesn't know where the source of the odor is or exactly what it's doing, so he's paying really close attention to the dog. Watch the dog's body language now. See how that nose starts coming up? He starts looking up at those stairs. The handler does the exact same thing, and now the dog seems to have figured it out. This body language that you're about to see from the trailing dog is it literally goes by every single person in its group and checks them, and then comes back and heads up the stairs. This is classic proximity alert reaction. The dog doesn't know where the odor source is coming from, so he's double checking every person in his group to make sure that's not it. Notice that the dog's in really, really good odor here. This is probably a good combination of trailing and air scent odor. The handler is waving his hand saying he believes it's air scent. Watch the dog when he gets to the corner of the building here. He's all of a sudden going to flip around and come back, probably air scenting something, and then pole vaulting over these benches. He comes back to the walkway, and watch how he goes immediately to ground odor. I think this is trailing going up the steps. I think the handler here is making a wise decision. He's going off lead to allow the dog some freedom to move in a better way without his influence of the lead. Being behind the dog that's actively reacting to odor of proximity and being attached to the lead is extremely difficult. Notice how the dog hits this little pocket and then turns around and comes back. I think he's working on areas of odor that's concentrating here in this section of the bleachers. High up in the stands, up in these rafters. Watch how he starts detailing these rafters in particular. This is really some nice work. The handler's trying to make some good decisions on what to do with his dog. His dog doesn't want to leave this area of extremely strong odor. We're trying to let the dog figure it out on his own, but he really just does not want to leave. This proximity scent is pooling and collecting right here, and as far as the dog's concerned, this is where the source is. He doesn't quite understand that he can get around, so the handler's going to kind of show him a path and let him do his own business at this point. Watch the dog's body language in reaction to this area right here. Notice how he starts leaping the bleachers with abandon. Usually when the dog takes the path of most resistance, it's an indication that it's got good odor right there. I believe that there's a good pocket or a good scent cone. The dog immediately goes up the stairs and comes back down. He's working this area strong because, again, I think the odor's starting to pool here. Right now, the handler's got a good idea that the scent is coming on high, more than likely coming from this catwalk up here. But he's allowing his dog to do everything it possibly can to try to isolate the odor, find the source on its own. This decision-making process is really, really crucial for the dog in later deployments on real cases on high finds. There's a shut door here to the catwalk, and the dog can't go through. He doesn't understand it's a door, he just understands it's a barrier. So he's going back down to the area where the strongest odor is, which is in this little area with the wall. He just doesn't want to leave here because, as far as he's concerned, this is where the source is. So again, the handler's going to try to let him make some good decisions based on odor. He's going to bring him back up in the area, up towards the staircase, and then up near the door to see if he can alert on the door handle odor. Right now there's no reaction to the door handle or the door itself by the dog other than what the handler's pointing out. He's just interested in all the strong odor because he knows he's close. So the handler goes ahead and opens the door and lets him through. By now, he kind of knows that the odor is coming from this source, just doesn't know exactly where. This next section of video is really great. It's coming from the subject's perspective. He's using an HD camera with a zoom lens. He gets some really good shots of exactly what the dog's doing. Look how hard the dog's reacting to the pool scent odor here out on the grass. You can see the fringe of it, and this is based on where the dog's working. We have quite a bit on that edge of the grass. It seems to stop right about there. This is the section where the dog goes back and checks everybody and then looks up just briefly. Right there. The dog's almost looking directly at the subject without being able to see him. I think this perspective of video is extremely important for a handler to be able to view. It gives them some insight into some doggy body language that they just generally might not see. Watch what happens when the dog comes around the corner. You're going to see some instant body language that we just didn't see before. Notice how the head comes up, looks high, but then goes back down to ground odor. That was the first indication it might be a high find. The handler just didn't know it. This situation can be a little frustrating for handlers if they have an idea where the subject is. They want to allow the dog to work, but their mind wants the dog also to find the person as soon as possible. So they have a tendency to do subliminal cueing to the dog with body language, with lead tension, so on and so forth. In this case, the trail's blind for the handler. He doesn't know exactly what's going on. He's really just allowing his dog to work. The other frustrating thing can be that if the handler does know where the source odor is coming from, they don't understand why the dog can't figure it out quickly. The dog might be working the pool scent really strong, working one area, going back and forth, and the handlers oftentimes get a little bit impatient. This handler does a great job of just letting his dog do his own thing.